to sunlight.
Look at this thing.
The Hummer EV. Redneck Visit.
So, the other week, I needed to buy a Segway Villan rear axle. Not because I have a Segway Villan, but because I make zero turn axles that let side-by-sides have like a zero turning radius, and I needed to find whose CV joints were out there that I could maybe use. This is the only thing I don't, one of the things I don't make from scratch. So, anyways, I needed a Segway Villan axle, looking around at the options, and there was the OEM stuff from Segway. They seem to kind of go through one online source mainly. I don't know what that's about, but anyways, in the ballpark of like $300-ish for a rear axle, approximately. Goes up and down, I'm sure. Not terrible. I like the KRX OEM rear axles are like $800, which is insane. So like comparatively to that, that's a reasonable OEM price for a rear axle. But I was looking around some more. Super ATV didn't make anything for the Villans yet. Highlifter, no surprise, didn't make anything for the Villans yet. All the cheapy companies like Eastlake and Niche didn't make anything yet. Looking around, and Demon did have some stuff. They had a heavy duty one and an OEM replacement axle. Heavy duty one looked decent. CV joints looked pretty good from the listing pictures and yada yada. The OEM replacement one looks terrifying. That's the picture, the listing picture that they showed. Like run in terror. Look at those boots. They look like they're just waiting to get chewed through. Neoprene, not even TPEE. The inner CV joint looks like a squirrel could chomp through it in one bite. Like that's just like screams run in panic. So I didn't really want to get their OEM replacement axle. I had a hunch that maybe that was just the wrong listing picture because some of them do that. But I called them up and said, hey, heavy duty axle, can I get one of those for the Segway Villan? And basically it had been out of stock, so like bummer. And I said, any idea when they'll be back in stock? And they're like, well, we're kind of in turmoil right now because we just bought Segway. Like, what? You did? And they're like, well, yeah, we just bought it for the Canadian rights to Segway. So like, good for Demon, but anyways, they were in a tizzy and they didn't really know when they were gonna have their heavy duty axles for Segway Villans back in. So I went ahead and ordered the terrifying looking OEM replacement axles, hoping that it wasn't really what they showed in the picture. And indeed, it was not. And I realized they are literally the OEM axles. I was like, wow, because I went and looked at some Villans and stuff, and I recognized these are the same CV joints. Another guy left a review, it was like, I think it was on their eBay listing or Amazon listing. These are literally the Segway OEM axles. Why don't you guys just say that? And the reason they are literally the same axles is because PDI International and Demon, this particular sub-brand is like Rugged or something, but it's all PDI International and Demon. Their bread and butter is selling OEM parts to the OEM manufacturer. So like, they're not just an aftermarket parts company like Super ATV or something. And in this case at least, I don't know about all their other OEM replacement axles, they're not just literal garbage. They're actually, at least in this case, the OEM axles that Segway puts on their vehicles. And I am plenty happy with the way these look. I'm pretty sure their heavy duty axles are just the same CV joints because these are great CV joints. I'll do some hardness testing and take measurements as well. Just kind of looking at them, I'm getting a good vibe. But I think their heavy duty axles are just a thicker bar in the middle, or maybe 4340 instead of like, I don't know, 4140 or whatever they use in their lower grade ones. But if you need an axle, these, the OEM replacement ones, were only, I think, $225, and then they're on 20% off sale lots, so you can get these for like 190 or 180 something. Buy these. Buy the Demon Rugged Power Sports or whatever they call it, OEM replacement axles for the Segway Villan, and you'll pay way less money. Instead of $300, you'll be in the range of like $190 if you wait till they're on sale, or $225 if you just get it whenever. So do that. Don't go pay the OEM price. BDI International makes OEM parts, and at least in this case, you're getting the same thing for way less money. And if anybody has any questions, they want like measurements of any of the splines or anything inside of these CVs or axles, let me know. I'll be happy to measure them for you. I always wish people could do that for me. So anyways, leave some comments if you do have any questions and want to know any measurements off of these things. And also, if you have a Segway Villan, pretty soon here, I will be making zero turn axles that basically let your turning radius go to nothing. Woo. So, See you next time. Thanks for watching Redneck Physics.